Welcome back to Frontline Eurosports Online. Today we're going to do a delivery to Dave, his lucky day to take ownership of a 2016 Ducati Multistrada 1200. Congratulations.
Right.
Woo, the excitement is bubbling out of your body. You even wore your red shirt to match your machine today. We start at the front. I give every customer a tire safety warning. Ride like you're riding in the rain for the first 50 to 100 miles as you're acclimating to a new motorcycle as well as riding on 2 tires. These tires are the Scorpion Trail 2s, which still have a little silicone coating on to help off all the mold and preserve shelf life. But Ducati worked directly with Pirelli to develop these 4 Multistrada, so they're going to feel spectacular in all different atmospheres for us. Our twin disc braking system, with our floating rotors, our Brembo radial mount calipers, our steel braided brake lines. And if you look at the left side of the wheel, this is where our safety comes into effect. We have a speed sensor pickup on the front here that measures the wheel speed on the front wheel, and there's a rear wheel speed pickup as well, and that's what's reading off this little cam right here. So that's what your extra lead is coming down with your brake line.
That would be ABS.
That would be ABS and the traction control and all that good jazz. So then we have our beautiful front end of this motorcycle, the adjustable windscreen. We have a little tab that we can squeeze, pull up, and adjust this at high to low and increments in between. Our suspension on the 1200 Multistrada is not the Skyhook electronic suspension. This is something we can cater and tune just to what your needs are. You're riding solo most of the time, have a pretty contained area that you're going to be riding in, so we can dial this in right for Dave's back of the woods. We are going to have a hydraulic dampening system that does have hydraulic fluid in it. It condensates and draws moisture. We want to service that for our service manual and keep up with that. We have the DVT system with the new 1200 motor, and that is going to give us the ability to have more of a smooth bottom end. So there's a hydraulic adjustment changing in there as our RPMs change and making it a more smooth operating motorcycle at the bottom end, and then increasing, it's changing so that it's going to be increasing performance at the top end as well. This is a water-cooled power plant, so you can have a radiator out front. If we do a lot of off-road, which you have our dirt history, then we can put some extra grills and coverage in the front there to give us extra protection. It is a fuel-injected power plant, so it's a pressurized fuel system. We don't have to worry about fuel petcocks. We don't have to worry about choke or anything to that nature. It's automatic, it's going to start right up and use electronic stepper motors to get where it needs to go. We have our serviceability aspect with our oil fill, our oil sight glass, obviously our drain and filters are going to be on the bottom of this motorcycle. Behind that we have our brake pedal, which is also hydraulic with steel braided brake lines, and our overflow reservoir that's going to give us our fluid level and our fluid clarity.
Yeah, you want to take a message?
Please do. We have our pillion pegs for all the ladies that want to see themselves on the back of your sexy Ducati motorcycle. We're going to have the ability to remove those if we don't want them. Stay off, baby, this is my bike. That's going to lead us right to our lock cylinder here for removal of our seat we'll get into, and it does have an adjustable seat height. Right now it's in the low position, and we can raise that up and get you a little bit more comfort if you need more foot peg to seat ratio as you acclimate to the motorcycle. We have our rear fender back here and our mud guard that's going to keep the spray off the passengers and off of the back of the motorcycle for us. We have mounts here for our pannier systems if we want to add our pannier systems. We have our large grab handles and rack in the back to add a little extra storage with soft bags and whatnot. LED brake light assemblies in the back, clear turn signals with amber bulbs to keep us 50 state compliant. Our rear shock adjustment is easily accessible right here with our left hand reaching down and making preload adjustments on the back of the shock. Exactly. So you can fine tune it on the fly and have those infinite adjustability instead of preset adjustments like the electronic suspension offers. It's a change-eye motorcycle, and being chain driven, we want to do preventative maintenance. So keep an eye on our chain tension, lubricate and adjust every 500 miles or so. Okay. Going forward, we have a 6-speed transmission with a linkage adjustable shift pedal, so we can change the height of that pedal smidgen without getting to geometry changes on the output shaft. We have the 1 down, 5 up. Above that is a hydraulic clutch, so it's going to have a slave cylinder with a steel braided line you can see right there, which also leads us right to the area that we can utilize to put some extra protection on the Multistrada. There are engine covers and frame sliders and all kinds of good things to protect this beautiful motorcycle. We already have an aluminum sump guard on the bottom there. And now we're going to get up into the handlebars and control. Actually, you want to see under the seat, or go ahead.
And also these chains, you said it needs to be adjusted every 500 miles or so. Is that something I could swing by here and do it? Or is that
Yes.
something I can
You can do it yourself, and we can teach you how to do it, or which we would recommend, so you don't require coming here every time for a chain adjustment. But we can definitely go over that with the service department and give you some educational time. I know you wanted to find out where you're going to put your wallet and your registration, right? So we're going to do that with the lock cylinder on the back. Just flip off the back seat, and this is where we've already put your tool pouch. Sweet. You've got your registration, your Virginia State inspection, and also leads us to an accessory socket and a USB port over on this side.
My phone can be charged while it's somewhere.
Exactly. The front seat can come off and go to trim panels underneath the saddle, and removing this trim panel so that we can have a taller saddle height.
So that's the storage.
That's your storage.
All right, I have to lose some credit cards and wallet and everything else, but it'll fit in. We'll be good.
We can make it fit, absolutely.
Right.
So I'm not going to pull off every other cover and whatnot and show you everything that's underneath of here, but you can see access to your battery. So if you want to put a battery tender on your, yep, exactly.
Great.
You can also see the top of your rear cylinder from underneath this area as well. But most customers we try not to have going underneath the motorcycle, and
Just need the battery.
there you go.
That's good.
So we put our lock cylinder for the fuel. Next thing we're going to do is, if you want to mount the motorcycle, we're going to go through handlebars and controls, and might as well have you on it so you can acclimate yourself to it immediately. Our hydraulic brakes assembly, you can see our fluid reservoir and overflow, our ride-by-wire twist throttle. We do have adjustability of the front brake for the Brembo radial master cylinder. We have our run cycle, start, activate, and kill switches over underneath here. If you push that, where this key fob is now in proximity, it'll queue up this motorcycle, which we'll do in a hot second. Conventional horn location, conventional turn signals. We have our menu selection. We have our cruise control. We have pre-wired auxiliary lights in, and our hazard lights. High beam is a trigger switch.
Nice.
So that's gonna be different. If you put your left hand up there, you're going to have the ability to flash it intermittently, or flicking it forward for constant high beam.
Nice.
So this is where we also have our clutch lever, which is hydraulic Brembo master cylinder, and an adjustable knob at the top of that.
Okay, well, that'll bring it in a little further.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
So we
cool.
can change that, and
I just want to get those gloves on. We'll see.
once you get the actual
Yeah.
riding apparel, exactly. So now we're going to have the opportunity to utilize that button to activate our motorcycle. Now she's all going to wind up and queue up and give us a great digital tachometer across the top. We have our fuel meter, easy to read over here. We're going to have our odometer, which I'm going to go through these buttons in a second, go through our odometer region and other fuel metering region. Speedometer, gear indicator, and gear position. We have our traction control levels, ABS levels, and our Ducati wheelie control level. Yes.
Yes.
Now we've got it currently in urban mode. To change that, we have this button over here, which is our menu button. We can hit that one time and activate sport, touring, urban, or enduro. And you can cycle through those guys.
How do I
go.
select it? Just by...
You're going to hold it. So we can
Okay.
continue to switch through.
Gotcha.
And if I want to go to sport mode, now I'm going to hold. It's going to switch. It's thinking, and now it's switched. And you can see your Ducati traction
sweet.
control went to 4, your ABS went to 2, and your wheelie control went to 2. I'm not going to put you out the door on that. We're going to go out in urban mode to acclimate to this motorcycle,
Good.
increasing our safety measures there and slowing the throttle response on our ride-by-wire. So we can go in a little bit deeper if we want to, but first I want to stay into the exterior portions of this. So we have our range. We can use our up arrow to go through trip time, timepiece, and odometer. Trip 1, trip 2, range on fuel tank, and back to our timepiece. Then we're going to have a down arrow that's going to work our right menu screen. Ambient air temperature, consumption averages, instantaneous fuel economy, average speed, ambient air temperature, back to our fuel consumption meters.
Okay.
So to actually get in and monitor and play with our different menu selections, we have the menu button that we do a long constant hold with over here. That's going to bring us to our riding modes, our pin code, our date set, our clock set, our backlight setting, and units of measurement. All pretty self-explanatory. So we're going to go into riding modes, and once we do that by clicking the menu button again, we can select what mode we want to manipulate. So urban is what we are in right now. Currently, we are low engine. We can go over and change that traction control. You can change ABS, and we can change our wheelie control. You just select what you want and let you go up and down through your settings.
Okay, so the higher the number, the safer?
Correct.
Okay.
So that is how we can go in and manipulate all of our modes. So we can put our engine power to maximum capacity on all of our modes and increase our safety on some and reduce safety as we go through.
Right.
But we can manipulate this machine as much as we want. You have to memorize them after you do it. Did you see the memory button come up in that region? So let's go into urban again.
Yeah. Okay.
And if we made a modification to that ABS, traction control, wheelie control, we'd have to go over to our memory, memorize it. But I'm gonna leave it at default right now and exit back out. Exit back out. And exit back out of that menu. I don't need to go into setting the timepiece and the clock. It's pretty self-explanatory stuff in there. Backlighting, that's personal preference. And that is your Ducati Multistrada in a nutshell.
Nice.
So do you have any questions for me regarding the Ducati Multistrada 1200 today, Dave?
No, not at this moment.
Excellent. You just happy you want to get out and ride?
Yeah, pretty much.
Awesome, awesome. Congratulations, and thank you for your participation today and being a new member of the Frontline family.
I'll just put this guy off.
Yep.